Welcome to this shortwave radio channel, and this is of course in my top 10 favorite shortwave portable receivers. In the top 10 I had to include my original first higher end Tecsun receiver, which was the Tecsun PL-600, still available on the internet, roughly between $80 and $100. It is still one of my favorites. I use it from time to time, and this actually is what kind of turned me on a little more into Tecsun receivers. I mean, I had before that I believe my first two receivers were the R9012 and the DR920, but this one was, more advanced PLL synthesized receiver. It was general coverage, and I wanted to see how it performed. I had heard a lot of good things about it. So this is a long wave, medium wave, shortwave FM receiver with stereo FM in the earphones. It's general coverage, so it has pretty much no gaps up to 29,999 kilohertz. It's a great performance. It's very sensitive receiver, and it's really nice as a receiver, not that expensive. Actually, at that time when I purchased this, which is at least 3 or 4 years ago, even more, at that time I had paid something like $70, which was really inexpensive for a receiver that has single sideband and PLL driven. So it's a little more expensive today because things, of course, prices go up a little, but still not very expensive for a radio, and it's a good overall radio, honestly. It has a very beautiful display, as you see here, with the backlight that can stay on, and of course clock displayed at the same time. A 5-bar signal graph so that you can see the signal levels, and it's a very nice receiver itself. Nice portable size to it, also a little bigger than the XH Data, for example, but and a little heavier, of course, so that could be something that you think about in travels, but it's very nice. Has, of course, 600 memories for storing your favorite frequencies if you want to use them. Single sideband tuning, not separate, but at least there's single sideband in it, so when you actually go to SSB, it says SSB. And there's a center notch on the button, the BFO button, which is very nice because it enables you to know when you're kind of centered on the BFO, which is useful in tuning upper and lower sideband signals and kind of knowing if you're pretty accurate on the frequency when you're in the single sideband signals. It has a two audio kind of filters, tone filters, treble and bass, so you can use that to change the audio. Of course, 2 bandwidths also, narrow and wide, that you can choose depending on what you listen to, so it helps out sometimes in some of the receptions where you can, when stations are very close together, you can use the narrow filter. It is very nice in its tuning, of course, keypad entry. It doesn't have any muting when you tune around. This is really nice because there's so many radios that have that muting when you tune. This one doesn't have muting, and this is very nice, of course, with up and down buttons to tune if you want, and of course it has scan capabilities. It has an antenna jack that is on the left side here, which is nice, earphone jack and power jack. It includes a nice black leather style carrying case. It includes 4 AA rechargeable batteries from Tecsun, so it's pretty nice for that. It has, of course, uses 4 AA batteries, and the battery life is pretty good, so you'll expect to have a good run on 4 AA batteries. Of course, you can have that light off if you want to save battery, but what's nice is, and I like this, the fact that you can actually leave the light on when you're actually using it in the dark. Of course, timer capabilities, alarm capabilities, like most radios, and it's really beautiful radio overall. What's bad about it? Well, no separate upper lower sideband. It's a minimum problem, because since the notch, the BFO has a center notch, it still makes it easy to tune in to, you know, single sideband signals, but it's always a little more interesting when there's a separate upper lower sideband button. Distortion in the audio is probably the biggest problem on this receiver. It's known problem, but there's something you can do about it. On the internet there are different modifications, so if you're good with electronics, you can actually do a little modification in it that actually will help the audio get better. So this is at least something interesting if you are looking at finding a better audio, because it is kind of distorted in the output, and that makes it a little harsh on the ears to listen to broadcasts from time to time. It does overload on long wires, and if you actually have a long wire plugged on it, not only does it overload, it creates a weird wobble when you actually listen to single sideband signals, which is kind of weird. And so you might want to restrain the length of the wire that you put on this radio, especially if there's a lot of strong stations that you're listening to. Overall performance on FM is great. On medium wave is pretty good too. Long wave, difficult to assess because there's a lot of noise here, but it seems to be okay. But shortwave is really, really good, and being a general coverage, it's a great radio. So the Tecsun PL-600 does make my list of my top 10 shortwave portable receivers that I own. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.